What's up everyone? What's this? A Let's Play playthrough on this channel? Get used to it. Today we start with Sporting in the FM23 beta. Hope well crew, thanks for the support so far on FM23. We've started off hot, haven't we? We've started off hot and we're looking forward to this. Back in a playthrough with Sporting. Let's get straight to it. So it's day one in the job, and what do? Well, we need to assess the squad for starters. I know we're pretty good. Sporting, they're pretty good, one of the top teams in Portugal, but how good? And where's the depth? Now, initial squad size it's a pretty large squad. There's a few out on loan, there's a few on loan. Notably, Trincao, who was on loan at Wolves last season, former Barca. Now then, I feel like this is a bit of a mic drop moment, but my plans for this Sporting save is to try and play strikerless. I know, crazy, right? But I thought we didn't do it in 22 or 21. Let's try it in 23. Now, to use the squad planner, one of the new features, you need to load a tactic in. So I've just put this tactic in there for now as a holder, which will help me see the depth of the squad. For example, I've got three keepers there, not a problem. The full-back areas look a little bit lacking. We've only got cover here and there, and one of those is a centre-back, so that's something to think about. I know up higher up, look at all them players, and they're all of a decent standard. I don't want to make a lot of transfers. I want to get into the game, see how the match engine's flowing, and see what we can do with Sporting. But I do know the central midfield area is probably one area where we need to bulk up a little bit. So to address our squad depth issue, that central midfield area, we've got the new scouting zone. It's been streamlined, it's far better, it's probably worth its own video, but for now, we'll just cruise on through it. So currently, you can see in this top corner, we've got recruitment focuses. These are the ongoing ones that the club are doing. So everywhere in Portugal and the lower leagues in Portugal looking for the next big thing. Sporting's philosophy. For us, we need to create a brand new one. So we'll go to recruitment focus and they can see it, create recruitment focus. Now once in, here you go, it's streamlined to hell, so we can go and drill down with the exact position we want. We want a hard-working, ball-playing central midfielder in there, so we can select that, and it gives yourself an recruitment focus name. You can name that whatever you want. We'll keep it as is. Transfer and loan, keep all our options. We don't have a big budget, so we might have to steal someone from a big club. We want someone in their prime because it's a short-term save, so we'll go for that. Now areas, we're just going to cover Europe. I know I've had a quick look, we've got a good knowledge of Central Europe, so let's do that. Central Europe, and we'll also chuck in there Western Europe as well. The next one's key, top priority. That'll mean that we'll get on it fast. With the main focus for the scouts, 2 scouts will be assigned to top priority focus for quicker results, and we're going to do that. We're going to lose this one here, assign any scouts, because the scouts are at different levels, just like players. So we're going to take Aurelio Pereira, I'm going to take Vicente Portal. Those 2 guys are in charge. Press confirm, and that is now set up. So that's set up. Hopefully by pre-season, the recommendations will come in and we'll be able to get someone. If you look in the top corner there though, we've only got 3.87 million and a wage budget of 36, so we've probably got enough to get ourselves one good player, probably on loan. Right, the key part of today's video is to build this formation, this strikerless formation. Now if you look there, I've got 4 players already in the team. One of the main reasons I chose Sporting because I knew those players and I knew we'd have a really good defence. Basically, they're so good, especially the 2 centre backs, super solid. Coates and Inacio. Porro is a right wing back, and Santos, who probably wants to play higher up, but I'm going to play him as a left wing back because I plan to play pretty narrow. I'm also fortunate that Adan here is a decent goalkeeper as well. He's 35, but goalkeepers do tend to peak later on, so he's my goalkeeper. Inacio, who is going to be a wonder kid, already is one actually under his media description. 20 years old now, superb. He's going to be the ball-playing defender because he's such an all-round player. He could probably play in midfield. Coates next to him, really solid defender. Then we've got Porro, signed for Man City, and Santos. Focus on Santos, likes to play as a winger, but I want him to play in here, and not just as a normal left wing-back either. Of course, when we go to him, I've got ideas to play them both as an inverted wing-back on attack. One of the key roles from last season, so we'll see if it's going to be as aggressive this season. Both on attack, bombing forward. Now we've got 2 defensive midfielders there and they're going to stick. I'm going to keep them there, but I'm going to change one of them because this strikerless tactic is all going to be about winning the ball back quickly. So we're going to have a ball winning midfielder in there. This fella next to him, ankle for me, will sit a little bit too deep. So we're going to go for defensive midfielder on support, meaning he will join the attack when needed. In front of him, this is where the key area comes. So I want one guy in there. Then these 3, as we all put them in, that's the narrow kind of shape I'm looking at. We're going to tweak the roles as we go through pre-season, but that's what I'm looking at. So my thinking is, in possession, Porro will end up somewhere like that, as will Santos, somewhere like that. then these three are going to run riot. Initially, I definitely want the middle one to be a shadow striker, possibly all three. Although looking at the squad, which we'll get to, kind of swaying towards having a couple of free spirits either side of them, so they can wander around depending on what players we get there. But in possession, we should be looking at something like that.
3 days later.
Okay, after a lot of playing around, that's what we're going with. This is the strikerless tactic I'm going to start with. I'm going to make a version 2, probably a version 3, but that's what we're going to start with. Let me talk you through it. So I've got 2 inverted wing backs like we talked about, Santos and Porro. In front of them, we've got Marita. He's going to be more expansive than his partner in central midfield. You see, all around, he's pretty good. Vision's 15, passing's 14. First touch is elite. He's a really good player at 27 years old. So he's going to sit there, be a bit of a withdrawn playmaker. I'm not going to give him a playmaker role, but I'm going to give him the rights to do things like more direct passes, shoot less often because he wants to prioritise passing, and also nudged in, get further forward. We'll go into the tactic really detailed if it hits. In front of him, we've got Pedro Goncalves, who is a fantastic player. Probably wants to play higher up, but I'm going to play him as that central midfielder on attack, one of the key roles from last season. Then we've got the three up front. Marcus Edwards, who's had a hell of a bump. He's 17 million to 22 million now. Flair 17, Vision 16, Dribbling 17. For me, he's perfect in that role there. I'm going to ask him as well, I'm going to add this in now, stay wider and cross a bit more. So he's going to probably be the main outlet, starting there and then coming in. We'll do the same with Trincao, cross more often and stay wider. So those two are going to be the free spirits. I'm going to use Cabral as the guy to burst through the middle from deep. Like everything so early in a new game, it's a bit of guesswork, then we'll just try to work out what makes sense. So in possession, we're going narrow, because there's no point going wide in a formation like this. Focusing that play through the middle. We will click in play out defence as well, because we do have a couple of good ballers in there. These are the things we can tweak as we watch the game go. We've got whipped crosses on as well, because I really like them this season. I try and run the City tactic and they really worked very nicely, and that's all we're going to do for now in possession. In transition, only counter. That's all I'm going to do, because if we had counter press on as well, there's a big chance if we don't win that ball back immediately, they're all out of position, and if you bear in mind that my fullbacks are inverted wing backs on attack, they could get caught out up there as well. So we'll take that off. We're going to counter when we get the ball, and that's it. That's all I'm adding there. Out of possession, this is where it gets kind of funky. Here we go. So we've got our standard line and a high press. If we drop that back a bit, it'd be a mid block. But without a striker, it's called a high press. But for me, that's still a take on a mid block. The trigger press is more often. Game will monitor that. We're going to trap them inside, which means we're going to funnel them where we've got most of the players. It just makes more sense. But we are going to invite crosses. When you hover over the invite crosses, ask the team to allow crosses in to defend situations we are confident on. And I've got those 2 centre backs, and I'm quite happy with that. It might be a bit of a risk for us playing inverted wing backs, but it's one I'm prepared to take in the early stages before we settle on a formation. I have built a version 2 too. Scary looking one, right? So what we'll do now is we'll go and play these pre-season friendlies. There's some tough ones there, Lyon, Marseille, PSG, and we'll see where we're at. We'll get a couple of the first few games done, and hopefully we've got a new midfielder to show you as well. So folks, we've made the signing. Florian Flick, he's 22 years old. He comes in from Schalke. I think he's a decent little player. We've only spent 2 million, rises to 3 eventually, but you can see he's got decent attributes. He's a squad player. He'll cover and he'll allow us to move his midfielder up and allow Goncalves to go into that shadow striker role. Here's the early season form then. We've won 3 out of 4. It's going well. A blistering 6-0 like you saw there. We've won 4-0 away at Casapia. We just drew our first away game to Boa Vista, one of the tougher away games. Bit worrying we weren't great in that one, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. Pre-season we were competitive against Marseille, PSG and Atletico. So it's going alright for strikerless. It's going alright. As a reminder, this is the tactic we're using. that there. I did switch to this one, believe it or not, against Boavista in the second half to grab as a draw, so we've still got some tweaking to do. When you come back for the next episode, I'm going to play a clutcher game, see where we're at. I want to get down to maybe this Benfica game or a little bit later on. Remember, we've got that World Cup break coming up as well, so that's going to be a bit annoying, but we're excited. That's the way we're looking so far. Flick comes in. There he is. He already looks part of the furniture, and like I said, with him coming in, we can move him into potentially this role or the other role and move one of them boys higher up, and Goncalves, we can make him one of the three. So I'm going to leave you there as it sits. We're third in the league. Player stats are looking good. We've got the top score in the league. We've got the 3 best average ratings in the league and the top assister. I can't ask for much more. Let's see how far Strikerless can take us.